I used to think I would spend the rest of my life running from the past and hating the people who had bullied me. And honestly, I did hate them. I had no intention of forgiving any of them. But Otis was different. Fate had brought him back into my life, and now the choice was mine. I had to decide whether to give him a chance to prove he had changed, and whether giving him that chance might also mean giving one to myself. I thought leaving Evergreen Ridge meant I could avoid making that decision for a little longer. I was wrong. Summer break was not over yet, and campus was still unusually quiet. A few students still walked between buildings with iced coffee in one hand and laundry baskets in the other. The library stayed open with shorter hours. The dining hall served food that tasted like everyone had given up a little. I was supposed to stay for another week. Instead, I packed my bag the morning after I got back from Evergreen Ridge. I told myself I just wanted to go home for a while. I wanted my old bed, my mother's cooking, my little brother's loud voice, and a house where every corner did not remind me of rain, lightning, and Otis sitting too close in the dark. That was a reasonable excuse. I almost believed it. Then my phone buzzed on the desk. Otis, 1 coffee. Still no promises. I stared at the message for a long time. A very responsible part of me wanted to ignore it. A smaller, more annoying part remembered that I had been the one who said 1 coffee. No promises. I hated honest past me. After 10 minutes of pretending to think, I typed back. 30 minutes. Coffee shop near campus. That is all. His reply came fast. That is enough. It should not have made my chest feel strange. I arrived 5 minutes late on purpose. Otis was already there. He had chosen the table nearest to the door. My chair faced the exit, like he had planned an escape route for me before I even sat down. I noticed. I did not thank him for it. Otis looked up when I walked in. For a second, he almost stood. Then he seemed to think better of it and stayed seated, both hands wrapped around a paper cup he had not touched. He looked nervous. Not cute nervous. Guilty nervous. Like a defendant waiting for a judge to decide whether he deserved mercy. I sat across from him and placed my phone on the table. 30 minutes. Otis nodded once. Okay. Silence stretched between us. The coffee shop was half empty. A student worked on a laptop by the window. Someone behind the counter blended ice loudly enough to save us from the first few seconds of awkwardness. Otis looked at me carefully, then lowered his eyes. Thank you for coming. I leaned back in my chair. Do not make it sound bigger than it is. His fingers tightened around the cup for half a second. I will not. Good. At least he was learning. I looked at him across the small table and felt anger rise again. Not sharp this time, but heavy. Your apology does not fix anything. Otis did not move. I kept going before I lost the courage. It does not give me back high school. It does not erase the lockers, or the hallways, or people whispering that name when I walked past. It does not erase how it felt when everyone laughed because liking boys became something they were allowed to use against me. Otis's face changed, but he did not interrupt. That made it harder. Old Otis would have made a joke. Old Otis would have looked away and pretended it was not that serious. This Otis only sat there and listened. So I said the part one needed him to hear. And it does not matter how sorry you are now. Sorry does not become valuable just because it comes years late. Otis looked down at his untouched coffee. For a moment, I thought he would defend himself. He did not. His voice came out quiet. I know. Those 2 words hurt more than they should have. Otis lifted his eyes to mine. I know I do not deserve forgiveness because I finally feel guilty. I know you do not owe me anything. Not kindness. Not a second chance. Not even this coffee. His shoulders dropped slightly. But if you ever give me 1 chance, I will prove it. I will do whatever I can to prove I am not that person anymore. There it was again. A real apology. A real regret. A real promise. And still, inside me, something stayed cold. Because a sincere apology was still only an apology. It could sit across from me with careful eyes and trembling hands. But it could not walk back into the past and save the boy I used to be. I looked down at my coffee. It had gone cold while I was busy pretending my past could be handled in 30 minutes. Across from me, Otis stayed still. Too still. like he was afraid one wrong movement would turn him back into the person I remembered. The worst part was that cruelty was not the only thing I remembered about him. That would have been easier. If Otis had only been another face in the hallway, another laugh in the crowd, I probably could have thrown him into the same dark corner of my mind where I kept everyone else from high school. Zach, Blake, the boys who whispered, the girls who looked at me, then looked away too fast. Most of them had become blurry with time. Ugly, but blurry. Otis was not blurry. Otis had always remained too clear. My fingers moved around the edge of my cup. You were not the worst one. Otis lifted his eyes slowly. Being honest felt like pressing on an old bruise. But you were the one I remembered the most. His face tightened. Not like he wanted to argue. More like the sentence had landed exactly where it should. My mind slipped back before I could stop it. High school lunch tables. Plastic trays. The smell of fries and cheap pizza. Before everything went wrong, Otis and I had once sat at the same table. Not every day, not like best friends, but enough that I knew how he laughed when he thought something was actually funny. Enough that he knew I hated garlic because the smell stayed too long. Enough that I once told him I liked blueberry pie more than chocolate cake. Small things. Stupid things. Things friends remembered. Then someone noticed the way I looked at him. After that, nothing felt small anymore. The whispers started. The name followed. Tiny. Weird. And Otis did not start every joke, but he laughed at enough of them. He called me tiny when other people were listening. He looked away when I needed someone to look at me like I was still human. But that was not the whole truth either. There were moments I hated remembering because they made everything more complicated. The storage room behind the gym. The dark. The door that would not open. The laughter outside. Then Otis's voice, sharp and low. Enough. Open the door. He had opened that door. More than once, when things started getting too ugly, Otis had been the one to stop it. But I did not feel grateful. I refused to feel grateful. No one deserved a medal for knowing when cruelty had gone far enough. I looked at him again. You know what makes it worse? Otis's hand tightened around his cup, but his eyes stayed on me. You were there when it hurt. And sometimes you stopped it. So you knew. You knew exactly how bad it was getting. His mouth parted slightly. No defense came out. Good. I needed him to carry that. I leaned back, suddenly tired. I think I know why I cannot forget you. Otis barely breathed. My throat felt tight, but I forced the words out anyway. Because before all of that, I liked you. The coffee shop noise seemed to fall away. Otis stared at me like I had handed him something fragile and sharp at the same time. I looked away first. And before I liked you, I thought we were friends. Maybe not close friends. Maybe not the kind who told each other everything. But enough. Enough that when you laughed with them, it felt different. My voice lowered. It felt like betrayal. Otis's eyes dropped to the table. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then his shoulders sank a little. I know. I almost laughed. Naturally, he knew now. Now that we were 21. Now that the damage had grown old enough to have roots. Otis looked up again, and the hope in his eyes was so careful it almost hurt to see. I cannot change what I did, but I can prove I am not that person anymore. I watched him. The boy I had liked. The boy I had feared. The man sitting across from me like he was waiting to be sentenced. I did not know what I wanted from him. I did not know if I wanted anything at all. But I knew I was tired of carrying unanswered questions like they were part of my body. So I breathed out. I do not know, Otis. Right now, I do not want you to do anything. His face fell slightly. I kept going. If you want a chance, then prove it. A small light moved through his eyes. Not victory. Not relief. Hope. He looked down quickly, like he was afraid I might take it back if I saw too much. I will. I picked up my phone and checked the time. I am going home tomorrow. I will not be back until break is almost over. Otis looked up. I have not gone home in a while either. I narrowed my eyes. He sat a little straighter, careful again. If you are okay with it, I can drive you. Let me make that the first way I prove it. I should have said no. A long drive with Otis sounded like a terrible idea, but his eyes were sincere, almost pleading, and I was still a college junior waiting on internship results. Free transportation was a very powerful argument. I stood and grabbed my bag. Fine, you can drive. Otis stood too, but kept the table between us. I pointed at him. This does not mean I trust you. His smile was small. I know. I walked toward the door first. Behind me, Otis followed at a distance, like even Hope had learned to be careful. The next morning, Otis was already waiting in front of campus when I came down with my bag. His car was parked near the curb, hazard lights blinking softly. He stood beside the passenger door with both hands in the pockets of his jacket, like he had arrived early and then regretted having too much time to think. I walked closer. His eyes moved to my bag first, then to my face. Morning. Morning. He opened the front passenger door. I looked at it. Then I opened the back door instead and put my bag across the seat. For 1 second, something quiet passed through his face. Not anger, not even surprise, just a small kind of hurt. Then he smiled like it was nothing and stepped back. Ready? I slid into the back seat. Yeah. He closed the door carefully, then got behind the wheel. The car pulled away from campus a few minutes later. At first, neither of us spoke. The radio was off. The road ahead was clear. Summer light moved across the windshield in soft flashes as we passed rows of trees and quiet neighborhoods. I watched the back of Otis's head and tried not to think about how strange this was. A few days ago, I had wanted to avoid him forever. Now I was in his car, letting him drive me home. That sounded like the beginning of a bad decision. Or a complicated one. Otis glanced at me through the rearview mirror, then quickly looked back at the road. Do you want to stop for coffee before we get on the highway? No. A few miles later, his fingers adjusted slightly on the steering wheel. Restroom? No. Another stretch of silence. Food? I looked out the window. Maybe later. He nodded and did not ask again. That should have been a relief. Somehow, it made the silence heavier. Around noon, we stopped at a small diner off the highway. It had red booths, laminated menus, and a waitress who looked like she could refill coffee without looking. I chose a booth near the window. Otis sat across from me, careful as always, like the table was a border he was not allowed to cross. When the waitress came over, I ordered a chicken sandwich and fries without thinking much about it. Otis ordered after me, then looked back at the waitress before she walked away. For his sandwich, could you make it without garlic? My eyes lifted. Otis kept his gaze on the menu. He does not like garlic. The waitress nodded and wrote it down. I stared at him. I had forgotten to say that. He had not. The waitress tapped her pen against the pad. We also have a dessert special today. Mixed nut brownie with caramel, if you boys want to try one. I almost answered automatically, but Otis spoke first. Does it have walnuts? The waitress checked the small menu card tucked under her arm. Yes, I think so. Otis shook his head immediately. Then not that one. He is allergic to walnuts. My fingers froze around my glass of water. Otis looked toward the dessert case near the counter. Do you still have the blueberry crumble? Is it nut-free? The waitress smiled. Sure do, and yes. Otis finally glanced at me, very briefly. One blueberry crumble, please. The waitress walked away. I kept looking at him. Otis lowered his eyes to the table like he already knew the question before I asked it. You remembered? His thumb moved once against the edge of his napkin. I always remembered. The words landed too softly for how heavy they were. I could see it so clearly. A high school lunch table. Otis across from me, stealing fries from my tray before I could complain. Me, stupidly happy because he was listening. Me telling him garlic made everything taste haunted. Me mentioning walnuts because a cafeteria cookie had almost ruined my day once. Me saying blueberry pie was the only dessert that understood me. One conversation. One stupid, ordinary conversation from before everything broke. And he remembered. The food came. We ate. Neither of us said much after that. When we returned to the car, I took the back seat again. This time, Otis did not look hurt. He only waited until I buckled my seat belt, then started the engine. The highway stretched ahead of us. I looked at him through the rearview mirror and felt something twist inside my chest. If he had cared enough to remember all of that, why had he also cared so little when it mattered? For the rest of the ride, Otis did not ask more questions. Maybe he felt the storm building in my silence. Maybe he was finally smart enough not to stand in front of it. He only drove, and I sat behind him, angry at the boy who had hurt me, and even angrier at the boy who had remembered me. By the time Otis pulled up in front of my house, the sky had already turned soft and dark. The porch light was on. My old bedroom window glowed upstairs. For a second, everything looked so normal that the whole day felt impossible. Otis parked by the curb and turned off the engine. Neither of us moved right away. The silence in the car was different now. Not peaceful, not angry either, just full of things neither of us knew how to touch. I opened the back door and pulled my bag out. Otis got out too, but he did not come too close. He only took my suitcase from the trunk and set it beside me on the sidewalk. The wheels clicked softly against the pavement. I looked at him. "Thank you for the ride, Otis." His eyes lowered for a moment. "You do not have to thank me. I should thank you for giving me the chance." There it was again. That look. That careful, guilty look that made me feel like I was standing in front of a dog that had destroyed my favorite shoes and knew exactly what it had done. The comparison was ridiculous. Worse, it almost worked. So I adjusted the strap on my bag and saved both of us from the awkwardness. "Good night, Otis." I turned toward the house before his face could make me feel anything else. Behind me, his voice followed softly. "Good night, Timothy." A small pause. "If you ever need anything, just text me. I am willing to be your driver." I stopped for half a second. I did not turn around. I did not answer either. But his car did not pull away until I opened the front door and stepped inside. Then my little brother attacked me. Taylor ran straight across the living room and wrapped both arms around my waist like I had returned from war instead of a campus apartment 2 hours away. "You are finally home." I almost fell backward. My mom laughed from the kitchen. My dad called my name from the hallway. For the first time in days, the air around me did not feel heavy. Taylor looked up at me with bright eyes. "Can we go to the amusement park tomorrow?" I laughed because he did not even give me 5 full minutes to exist at home first. "Tomorrow." He nodded so hard his hair bounced. I made a list. Of course he did. I was weak against many things. My little brother with a list was one of them. "Fine. We can go." Taylor cheered loud enough for the neighbors to know. Then reality arrived late and rude. My car was still parked back on campus. My parents both had work in the morning, and taxi rides to the amusement park were not exactly friendly to a college junior waiting for internship results and pretending his bank account was not a horror movie. That night, I sat in my old bedroom with my phone in my hand. I opened Otis's contact, closed it, opened it again. This was not romantic. This was not me wanting to see him. This was transportation economics. Very practical, very responsible, not suspicious at all. Finally, I typed before I could overthink myself into paying for a taxi. "Can you drive me and my little brother to the amusement park tomorrow? He wants to go, but my car is still parked on campus." Otis replied almost immediately. "Absolutely. I would be happy to. I was just afraid you would not text me." I stared at the screen. Half of me felt relieved. The other half wanted to hate how relieved I felt. I typed back quickly. "Thanks. 10 tomorrow. Good night." His reply came a second later. "Good night, Timothy. See you tomorrow." That night, I slept badly. Worse than I wanted to admit. By 8:30 the next morning, Taylor was already standing beside my bed, fully dressed, staring at me like a tiny alarm clock with shoes. I opened one eye. "You know the park is not running away, right?" Taylor lifted his list. "It might." I laughed despite myself. After breakfast, we sat in the living room watching television while Taylor kept checking the window every 3 minutes. A little after 9, a car pulled up outside. I looked through the curtain. Otis was already there. Not texting, not calling, not rushing me, just waiting. And somehow, that made it harder to pretend he was only a ride. I did not want Otis waiting outside my house for almost an hour. That was the only reason I grabbed my jacket and told Taylor to get his shoes. At least, that was the explanation I gave myself. Taylor nearly tripped over the rug from excitement. "Are we going now?" I picked up my car keys out of habit then remembered the car itself was still parked back on campus. Yeah, our ride is already here. Taylor ran to the door like the amusement park had personally invited him. Otis looked up when we stepped outside. He got out of the car immediately, but he did not walk toward me too fast. He only stood near the driver's side, hands loose at his sides, like he was still learning how much space I needed. Taylor stared at him with the kind of open curiosity only little brothers could get away with. Taylor leaned forward from the back seat before Otis even pulled away from the curb. "Are you Timothy's friend?" My fingers tightened around the seat belt. That should have been an easy question. It was not. Otis glanced at me from the driver's seat, but did not answer for me. I looked at Taylor's bright face and chose the version that would not ruin his morning. He was my friend in high school. Taylor's eyes widened. "Wow, you are still friends after all this time? That is so cool." I gave him a small smile and let him believe that. Beside me, Otis smiled too. Not big, not proud, just soft enough to make my chest feel inconvenient. Taylor saved us from the silence by talking for the next 20 minutes. He explained the full amusement park plan he had apparently created at midnight, including which rides were important, which snacks were necessary, and which game booths were definitely not scams if you had skill. By the time we reached the park, the air in the car had become easier to breathe. Taylor practically dragged us through the gates. We started with bumper cars, then spinning cups, then a pirate ship ride that made me regret every life choice that involved breakfast. Otis stayed close, but not too close. He held Taylor's backpack when Taylor got tired of carrying it. He bought water before Taylor remembered he was thirsty. He checked the map without making it seem like he was taking over. It was annoying. Not because he did anything wrong, because he kept doing things right. Then Taylor saw the roller coaster. His whole body lit up. "Timothy, please." I looked at the track, then at the screaming people flying above us. "Absolutely not." Taylor pointed at the sign. He needed someone older to ride with him. Before I could invent a medical condition, Otis stepped beside us. His hand lifted slightly, not touching either of us. "I can go with him." Taylor looked like Otis had just offered him a kingdom. I looked at Otis. "You do not have to." Otis met my eyes for 1 second. "I know." That was all. No pressure. No heroic speech. Just a choice. So I let him go. When the ride ended, Taylor came running back with messy hair and a voice loud enough for half the park to hear. Otis did not scream at all. Otis followed behind him, looking unfairly normal. I narrowed my eyes. That is suspicious. A small smile appeared on Otis's face. Maybe I screamed internally. Taylor laughed so hard, he almost dropped his park map. After that, he seemed to decide Otis was part of the team. They went through the haunted house together while I pretended I was only staying in the middle because Taylor needed protection. We played a ring toss game. Otis missed twice on purpose, then won a small keychain on the third try and handed it to Taylor like it was a trophy. By lunch, Taylor was completely sold. We sat at an outdoor table with burgers, fries, and lemonade. Taylor kept listing Otis's achievements like he was writing a college recommendation letter. He knows where everything is. He carries stuff. He won the game. And he went on the roller coaster. I took a fry from my tray. "Should I be worried you are replacing me?" Taylor looked genuinely offended. "No, you are my brother. He is just useful." Otis looked down at his drink, shoulders shaking with silent laughter. I should have been annoyed. Instead, I realized something worse. I hated Otis a little less than I had that morning. Only a little. After lunch, we walked toward the game booths. Music played from the arcade area. Kids ran past with stuffed animals almost bigger than their bodies. Taylor answered before I could. "Yes, Timothy wants vanilla." I turned to him. "Do I?" Taylor nodded seriously. "You always do." Otis looked at me for permission. I sighed. "Fine. Vanilla." Otis smiled, then headed toward the stand. Taylor pulled me toward the game booths. For the first time that day, I felt almost normal. Then I saw the man behind one of the booths. Zach. For a second, I thought my brain had made him up. Maybe the amusement park, the heat, and the noise had pulled another ghost out of high school just to ruin my day. But then he looked up from the game booth. His mouth curled, And I knew he was real. He was older now, but not better. After high school, Zach had not gotten into any of the colleges he used to brag about. Since then, he had bounced between short-term jobs around town, usually leaving after an argument or a fight. Most people had learned to avoid him when they saw him coming. Apparently, the game booth was his latest job. Same heavy stare, same lazy smirk, same way of looking at me like I was still standing in a hallway with a note taped to my locker. Well, look who it is. My hand tightened around Taylor's shoulder before I could stop myself. Zach leaned over the counter, his name tag crooked on his shirt. Tiny. The word hit harder because Taylor was beside me. Not here. I turned him away from the booth, but Zach's laugh followed us. College made you brave, huh? I kept walking. I could do that. I could be 21 years old. I could walk away from a grown man hiding behind a carnival game and pretending high school still mattered. Then Zach called after me again. Running away already? Going to find your boyfriend and cry about it. Taylor stopped walking. His small face changed from confusion to worry. I can get help. Before I could answer, Zach laughed louder. Oh, sorry, Tiny. I forgot. You probably do not have one. Something inside me snapped. Not cleanly. Not heroically. Just snapped. I turned back just as Zach came around the side of the booth and stepped too close to Taylor. I moved between them and pushed him back. Not hard enough to hurt him. Taylor ran toward the main path, looking for security. Good. At least one of us was thinking clearly. I had heard enough stories about Zach losing his temper to know that walking away had never been his strongest skill. Zach stumbled back toward the booth, reached beneath the counter, and grabbed a short wooden bat from the booth's baseball-themed display. It was not sharp. It was not some movie weapon. But in his hands, it looked bad enough. My anger cooled too late. The people around us backed away. Zach moved toward me. For one stupid second, I thought of Otis. That made me angry at myself. Some part of me still remembered how he used to appear when things went too far. Zach lifted the bat. My body moved before my pride could stop it. I raised my arms and closed my eyes. The sound came first. A dull impact cut through the air, but the pain never landed. I opened my eyes. Otis stood in front of me. 2 dropped ice cream cups lay on the pavement behind him. His forearm had caught the hit meant for me. His face had gone pale, but his eyes were steady. For a moment, I could not breathe. Otis did not swing back. With his good hand, he pushed the bat aside and stepped between Zach and me, wide enough to block him completely. His voice dropped low. Enough. That word froze me harder than the bat had. Enough. The storage room. The locked door. The laughter stopping outside. Zach's face twisted when he recognized him. Oh, Otis. So you are his secret boyfriend now. Otis did not take the bait. His eyes shifted past Zach toward the security guards running over with Taylor beside them. You should worry about yourself. Taylor reached me first and grabbed my arm. Not at security. At me. His face was still too pale. Are you hurt? Did he touch you? I stared at his arm. His fingers were shaking. Only then did I realize the bat had hit him instead of me. My voice came out softer than I meant it to. Otis, are you okay? He tried to smile. I am fine. He was not. And this time, I refused to look away. Otis tried to tuck his injured arm closer to his body. I reached for his sleeve before he could hide it. Not hard. Just enough to stop him from pretending. His fingers trembled near mine. For a second, neither of us moved. The amusement park was still loud around us. Music from the game booths. Kids laughing somewhere near the carousel. A security guard talking to Zach in a firm voice. Taylor breathing too fast beside me. But all I could see was Otis's arm. The arm that had taken the hit meant for me. I looked up at him. Do not lie to me. Otis's mouth opened slightly, then closed. His face was pale enough to scare me. Taylor tugged on my sleeve. Timothy, is he hurt? I forced myself to breathe before answering. I think so. Otis shifted like he wanted to make everyone calmer, but the small movement made his jaw tighten. I am okay. Really. His voice sounded too careful, too controlled. That made it worse. One of the security guards stepped closer and lowered his clipboard. We called the park manager and first aid. We also notified the police. Otis started to shake his head. I answered before he could. "We are taking him to a hospital." Otis looked at me immediately. "You do not have to do that." I turned toward him, my fingers still lightly holding his sleeve. "I know." That shut him up. For once, I was grateful. A few minutes later, the park manager arrived with a radio in hand. One of the security guards stepped aside with her and summarized what the witnesses had reported. Zach had been harassing me. I had pushed him back when he moved too close to Taylor, and Zach had escalated everything by grabbing the bat. Zach kept arguing near the booth, but no one looked convinced. The manager's face hardened as the guard continued. By the end, Zach was being escorted toward the park office to wait for the police, still talking too much for someone who had almost turned a carnival game into a crime scene. I should have felt satisfied. I did not. Taylor stood close to my side, eyes still wide. Then my phone rang. "Mom." Of course. I stepped a little away, but kept Otis in sight. My mother's voice came through bright at first. "Hi, honey. I am almost at the park. Are you and Taylor still there? Your dad has a work dinner tonight, so I thought we could grab dinner together." I looked at Otis. He tried to flex his fingers, but the movement made him wince. My stomach twisted. "Mom, something happened. Taylor is okay. I am okay. But Otis got hurt." Her voice changed immediately. "What happened?" I kept it short. No drama. No panic. Just enough truth. There was a problem with someone from high school. Security handled it. "Can you take Taylor home? I need to take Otis to the hospital to have his arm checked." Taylor looked up at me. "I want to go with you." I crouched a little and fixed the strap of his backpack. "You already helped by getting security. That was the right thing to do. Now I need you to go with Mom, okay?" His eyes moved to Otis. Otis managed a small smile for him. "You did great, Taylor." Taylor swallowed, then nodded. When my mom arrived, she hugged Taylor first, then me. Her eyes went straight to Otis's pale face and the way he held his arm. She did not ask too many questions in front of everyone. Good mothers knew when questions could wait. Otis gave her a polite, strained smile. "I am sorry for the trouble." My mom's expression softened as she looked at his injured arm. "I think getting that checked matters more right now." Then she turned toward me, already reaching for Taylor's hand. "Get your friend to the hospital before he apologizes until he passes out. Call me if anything comes up, okay?" Despite everything, a small laugh almost escaped me. I took Otis's keys from his good hand. He looked at them, then at me. "You are driving?" I opened the passenger door for him. "Your arm is shaking, and I like being alive." A tiny smile crossed his face. It disappeared when he sat down. The drive to the hospital was quiet. Not because I wanted silence, because I had too many thoughts fighting each other. Otis sat in the passenger seat with his injured arm resting carefully on his lap. Every few minutes, I looked over and saw his face growing paler. "Are you okay, Otis?" He tried to smile again. "I am okay." His face betrayed him immediately. I gripped the steering wheel a little tighter. "We are almost there. Hold on a little longer." Otis turned his head toward the window. The reflection showed a small, stupidly peaceful smile on his face. Like he was satisfied. Like getting hurt for me had somehow been worth it. That look made my chest ache. And I hated how much it affected me. At the hospital, they took him for an X-ray. I sat in the waiting area with my hands clasped together, staring at the automatic doors every time they opened. When Otis finally came back, his forearm was secured in a white cast, and his good hand held a small pharmacy bag. The doctor explained it was a minor fracture. It should heal without any lasting damage. Rest, medication, no heavy lifting, a follow-up appointment. Otis nodded like this was all normal. I stood up the moment he walked toward me. He tried to look fine, but the careful way he moved gave him away. For the first time that day, I was the one who refused to look away. Every few steps through the hospital parking lot, the movement jostled his arm enough to tighten his mouth. I unlocked the car and opened the passenger door before he could reach for it. Otis looked at me. "I can open a door with one hand." I stared at his cast. "You can also sit down and stop acting brave for 5 minutes." A small smile touched his mouth. For once, he listened. After he got in, I walked around to the driver's side and sat behind the wheel. The pharmacy bag rested between us. He held his injured arm carefully against his chest, the white cast bright under the parking lot lights. For a moment, neither of us moved. The car felt too quiet, too small, too full of everything I had not known how to say all day. I kept my hands on the steering wheel. "Otis, thank you." His eyes widened like those two words hurt more than the fracture. "I chose to do it." I turned toward him. "You did not have to." His answer came too fast. How could I not? I opened my mouth to interrupt, but his gaze held mine before I could speak. "Timothy, I told you I would do anything to prove it." Something inside my chest twisted. I looked down at his cast. The white cast. The careful way he held his arm. The way his face was still pale, but his first question after everything had been whether I was hurt. I should have felt only grateful. Instead, the old pain rose with it. "I wish you had protected me back in high school." The air between us changed. Otis went still. I kept my eyes on his cast because looking at his face felt too dangerous. The worst part was not just the bullying. It was being hurt by the person I had a crush on. My voice lowered. "It was you." Otis did not look away. That made it hurt more. His good hand curled lightly against his knee. "I am sorry, Timothy." His throat moved once. "Back then, I was a coward. I cared too much about what people thought. I let you get hurt because I was afraid of standing beside you." The words were quiet. No excuses. No dramatic speech. Just the truth. Otis looked at me with tired eyes. "But I am not that person anymore. I will not let anyone hurt you like that again." My heart missed a beat. The person sitting beside me was Otis. The boy I had liked. The boy who had hurt me. The man who had just stepped in front of me without thinking about himself. And suddenly, something I had been avoiding since the mountain resort became too clear to ignore. What I had called hatred was not simple. Beneath it were years of anger, grief, and disappointment in someone I had once trusted. Otis looked down, as if my silence had already become an answer. "I will keep proving it to you." I breathed in slowly. "You already did, Otis. I believe you." His face changed immediately. Not into victory. Not into relief that erased everything. Just light. Small and careful, but real. Really. Heat climbed into my face, so I looked toward the windshield. "Do not look too happy. I did not say I completely forgive you." Otis's smile softened. "I know." I tapped the steering wheel once, nervous for no reason. "I am giving you a chance. That is all." Otis looked down at his cast, then laughed quietly. "That is already more than I thought I deserved." A beat of silence passed. Then his voice grew softer. "Even if the price was higher, I would still think it was worth it." My chest tightened. I turned to him quickly. "Do not say things like that." Otis blinked. This time, my voice was not cold. "I do not want anyone getting hurt because of me. Especially not you." The last 3 words stayed in the car longer than I expected. Otis looked at me. His expression changed, slow and gentle, like he had heard something he was afraid to believe. I did not look away. For once, I let myself look at him. Really look. The person I used to want. The person I used to fear. The person I was choosing to see again. "Otis." His posture straightened slightly. "Yeah." My fingers tightened around the steering wheel. "There is something I have wanted to do for a long time." Otis went very still. His eyes stayed on mine, open and trusting. "Anything you want, Timothy." That almost broke me. Not because he knew what I was about to do. Because he trusted me enough to let me choose. I leaned closer. Slowly. Not because I had forgotten everything. Not because one cast erased the past. Because this time, I wanted to choose. My lips touched his. At first, the kiss was barely there. Then it lasted a little longer, soft and trembling, like all the words I had buried years ago had finally found another way out. I looked away first, face warm. "Do not misunderstand. I still have not completely forgiven you." Otis smiled with more life in his face than he had all evening. "I know. I will keep showing you." My eyes dropped to his cast. "Not like that." Otis followed my gaze, then laughed under his breath. "No, not like that." And somehow, in a hospital parking lot, With a broken arm between us and years of pain still not fully healed, I laughed too. For a while, neither of us moved. The hospital parking lot was quiet around us. A few cars passed near the entrance. The automatic doors opened and closed behind us with a soft mechanical sound. Inside the car, everything felt too still. Otis looked at me like he was afraid blinking would make the moment disappear. That made me nervous. So I reached for the easiest weapon I had. "Stop looking at me like that." His smile grew a little, careful but impossible to hide. "Like what?" I pointed at his face without looking directly at it. "Like I just handed you the meaning of life." Otis glanced down at his cast, then back at me. "It kind of feels like you did." My face got warm immediately. "Do not be dramatic. You are injured. Pain medication is probably making you sentimental." His good hand rested near the pharmacy bag. "I have not taken it yet." That was unfair. He should not have been allowed to answer that softly. I faced forward, but I did not start the car. Not yet. The silence between us was different from before. It was not empty. It was full, but not suffocating. I drew a slow breath, gathering the courage to say the part that still mattered. I may still get angry. Some days, I may need distance. Otis's smile softened, but he did not look away. "I understand. I can be patient." My gaze dropped to his cast. "And no more proving anything by getting hurt." A faint, guilty smile touched his mouth. "I will find safer ways." "Good." A tiny laugh escaped me. It surprised both of us. Otis looked at me again, and this time his smile was not heavy with guilt. It was just happy, quietly happy, and somehow that hurt less. My phone buzzed in my pocket. "Mom." I checked the message. Taylor was home, safe, and apparently already telling our mother 3 different versions of what happened at the park. I rubbed my forehead. "He is going to make you sound like a superhero." Otis looked genuinely worried. "Please stop him." I almost smiled. "No, you deserve consequences." Otis leaned his head back against the seat, his smile small and tired. "Fair." I looked at him then. The cast, the tired eyes, the ridiculous little smile he could not fully hide. A few days ago, Otis Warren had been the person I most wanted to avoid. Now he was sitting beside me in a hospital parking lot with a broken arm because he had stood between me and the past. That did not erase anything. It did not make high school beautiful. It did not turn pain into romance. But it changed something. Maybe not the past. Maybe just the direction I was facing. I used to think healing meant leaving everything painful behind, walking far enough away that the memories could no longer find me. But maybe healing was not always a clean escape. Sometimes it meant looking directly at the person who had hurt you and deciding, for yourself, whether they deserved another place in your life. Not everyone deserved forgiveness. I still believe that. Regret did not erase damage. An apology did not automatically earn a second chance. No one was entitled to forgiveness simply because carrying their guilt had finally become uncomfortable. But sometimes, giving someone a chance was not only something you did for them. Sometimes, it was something you did for yourself. A way of finally opening the door to the dark room I had been trapped inside for far too long. The past would still be there when I stepped outside, but it would no longer be the only place I knew how to live. Maybe life had been unfair to me in high school. Maybe, in its own strange way, it was finally trying to give something back. It had started with a healing trip. One cabin, one storm, and Otis. The person who had once made me afraid to be seen was now sitting beside me with one arm in a cast, smiling like being given a single chance was more than he had ever expected. I did not know where we would go from here. I still had anger. I still had memories. I still had parts of me that needed time. But I knew my life would not continue as quietly as it had before. And if anyone ever tried to turn my feelings, or the fact that I could love another man, into a joke again, the Otis sitting beside me now would not laugh with them. He would not look away. He would not stay silent. He had already proven that. Otis slowly lifted his good hand and placed it between us, palm open, asking for nothing. I looked at it for a long moment. Then I placed my hand over his. Not as complete forgiveness. Not yet. But as a chance. Otis did not squeeze tightly. He only held my hand like it was something fragile and worth protecting. For the first time in years, the past felt a little less heavy. The dark room finally had an open door, and tomorrow no longer sounded so lonely.